Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm bringing you guys another episode of Sweaty Thursday. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this series, this is basically a series letting you guys know what couple decks I would play for ladder over the weekend, and then what a good gauntlet lineup is that I would play for the upcoming gauntlet for this weekend. The series is more aimed for the people that can't really grind every single day, and so they want to get the most usage out of their weekends and say, hey, I can only play for a couple days a week. Maybe you work a 9-to-5 job, maybe you just work, a full-time job and the weekends are only days off. You have a family, stuff like that, a bunch of, other things you're doing throughout the week, whatever it is, and the weekend is the only time you get to play, or Friday nights. Well, this is the video series aimed at you guys, for the competitive players, the players that want to be competitive but don't have, silly willy-nilly free time to spend all day, every day grinding LOR. So I'm going to go over the 3 decks I would personally play for ladder, and then go over the gauntlet decks that I would bring, the gauntlet lineup that I would bring in. Before we get into these 3 decks that I'm going to play for ladder and that I would play for my gauntlet, I wanted to remind you guys that 68% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you guys could do me a huge favor, click that subscribe button, comment down below for the algorithm, turn notifications on, all that type of jazz. This is the place for LOR competitive content. So if that's what you're interested in, if you're interested in competitive content, if you want to get into competitive content, if you just want to know what the meta's looking like, what other competitive players are going to be playing, this is the place for you. And join the Discord. Join the Discord down below. It's been popping off lately. Discord's been popping off. You guys are insane. A lot of people in there showing off like how they've hit diamond, how they've hit platinum, masters, all their goals lately, just from jumping into Discord, getting a few tips on how to play things. Everyone in there is really friendly. Everyone in there is really welcoming. Anytime anyone has questions, we have people out here putting out 2,000 word responses, like really in-depth responses from previous masters players, current masters players. Obviously I'm in there, so like seasonal champions, people that have top seasonals, stuff like that. So that is the place to go if you want any type of competitive content. Join that Discord down in the description below. But that's going to be it for the intro. Let's get into the 3 ladder decks. So, again, the meta has changed a little bit. So, no balance patch. We actually get a balance patch on Wednesday, which is great, about 10 days before seasonal. So, seasonals is 2 weeks away from this weekend. So, there's only 2 weeks left to get, or really only, I think there's only 1 week left to get your Prime Glory. I think this is the last one, the last week to get your Prime Glory. And then the last chance is next week. So, you guys better be getting 2. I think that's next week. Is the 20th not next week? Yeah, it is. So it's the last chance to get your Prime Glory, last Prime Glory. So make sure you guys do that. I need to start grinding. I'm only in like Diamond 2, so I really need to start grinding. My goal, because this season short, my goal is to get to like 600 LP. I'll probably just sit down. I'll play this Bard Maokai deck. This is what I'll be playing probably over the weekend, and that's a good segue to get into what the first deck I would have suggested. So first deck is Bard Maokai. So again, I know this deck looks kind of meme, but I just put a video out on it yesterday, and then I played a little bit more after the video, and this deck is actually fucking sick. This deck is really sick. It has really good anti-aggro. You play 7 Vengeances, so the way for you to kill like any champion is always going to be there. You play Passage Unearned against Thrall players, so especially in closed deck lists, if they're not expecting it, they just go, oh, poop out all these Thralls on turn 5, no deny backup. You say, okay, Passage Unearned, haha, got him, and they concede. As this list gets more popular and they're expecting the Passage Unearned, it gets a little bit less swingy that way, but deck is still really good. Deck is still solid. This is what I'm going to be playing for this weekend to climb ladder. Again, put a video out on it yesterday, so if you want to see some gameplay, do that. Outside of that, the curve for this deck is kind of just like go deep, level your Maokai, try and toss a bunch, go deep, play Bard. Once you're deep and you play your Bard, I believe your Bard instantly levels up. So at least he always has for me. So that's a good way to level Bard. Start getting a bunch of chimes. Once your deck gets very small and very concentrated, all of your chimes just start getting onto the few units left in your deck. And it's very nuts. So highly recommend trying this deck out at least. At least it's extremely fun. So at the very least, I would try it out. But that's what I'm going to be playing this weekend. The other ladder choice I'm not going to go over too much is, of course, Kai'Sa. Mono Kai'Sa still extremely good. Still extremely good deck. Not too many changes have been made to the deck. People are cutting down on hourglasses. I think people are cutting down on hourglasses because people are not trying to interact with it anymore. Because people basically just had if I try and interact with Kai'Sa, she's going to hourglass me, so I'm just going to race you and do my own game plan. So because of that, Kai'Sas have kind of gone away from the hourglass and gone into concerted strike. Otherwise, usually it's like this, where you play 0 concerted strike, 2 hourglass. But I just ripped highest LP Kai'Sa deck, so this is what the highest person in NA Masters is using. deck can't be that bad. Deck number 3 to go into for ladder is Thralls. So Thralls is kind of cracked, in case you guys were not aware. This deck's a little bit broken. Thralls still extremely strong. I think both like rank 2 and 3 are playing Thralls. Yeah, Heimer and Hanzo and Cannon. Both playing Thralls. Hanzo known as the Thralls player. Cannon, Kanan, I don't really know how you pronounce his name. I call him Cannon. But Cannon's also rank 2 playing Thralls. So Thralls insanely strong. Not the most exciting deck. Not a very new deck. Basically has the exact same play style as before, but this is a very solid deck if you want to go into the weekend. Games aren't extremely fast, but you'll have a really high win rate, so it kind of balances out. And yeah, so those are the 3 decks I would play. A couple other like honorable mentions for ladder for this weekend. Monkey deck is very good. Honorable Monkey deck. I know the biggest question is, well, why isn't Bartolai on here? The reason Bartolai isn't on my top 3 to play this weekend is not because it got any worse. Like, the deck obviously didn't get any nerfs or anything, right? So it's still just as strong as it was previously. The difference is a lot of people are hard targeting it now. They're playing things like Culling Strike. They're playing things like, I mean, even this deck plays, what's a Viego spell? Despair. It completely trumps Alawi. So like there's a bunch of like Passage Unearned like completely fucks over the whole spawn idea. So yeah, there's just a lot of hard counters out to Bartolai. And right now there were 2 top dogs for the longest time as far as metas go, or as far as decks go, and it was Mono Kaisa and Bartolai. I'll let you know one of those decks not easily targetable, and it's going to be the deck that plays a shit ton of 2 mana save spells and 2 mana keep my unit alive and 3 mana burst speed, give my unit spell shield. So people realize, hey, can't target the Kaisa deck, so what I can do is make sure I can target and beat all the Bartolai decks, and that's what's happening. I still think Bartolai is extremely strong, so if you're comfortable on Bartolai, you know how to play Bartolai well, I would recommend you just play Bartolai. That's perfectly fine. Again, Monkey deck, very good, very solid deck. You can put Monkey deck on here. You could put Aphelios PNZ on here. You can put basically any tier 1 deck on here is good. Again, just a reminder, this is just the list that I would personally play. These are the decks that I would personally be playing this weekend because I think they are that strong, and if I put my faith into them, you guys should put your faith into them. Last week for the Gauntlet and for the ladder, I was telling you guys to play Ari Bard, and I was telling you guys to play Aphelios PNZ. Lo and behold, on Meta Monday comes around, I looked to see what the highest win rate decks were. Not the most played, but the highest win rate decks in Masters, Ari Bard and Aphelios PNZ. So I kind of know what I'm talking about a little bit here. You guys should trust me, and you guys should try and maybe pick these decks up a little bit. They're pretty good. And who do you know? And also I was talking about Aphelios PNZ. No one was really playing it. Boom, comes out of nowhere. Aphelios PNZ, rank 1. So like, there you go. Maybe you should listen to me a little bit. Well, now if people start picking up Aphelios PNZ, you're on Thralls, which smokes Aphelios PNZ. But yeah, that's it for the ladder. Let's get into Gauntlet. So for Gauntlet decks, I have, we'll go over the one which is Thralls. I think Thralls is extremely strong. And the other one is Jayce Heimer. So Jayce Heimer is an extremely strong deck that beats a lot of mid-range decks, a lot of aggro decks. You have so much healing. You play, 2 Ruination, 3 Vengeance, Piercing Darkness, just a bunch. Like some versions even play like a Telstones. So you have a lot of ways you have Turbos, a lot of ways to kill off these big mid-range units. And you have a lot of ways to interact with cheap aggro units. And a lot of ways to kind of just be proactive while also being a control deck, which is the number one thing that every other control deck fails at. This deck is extremely strong as well, also very solid for ladder. But the reason I like this Gauntlet core of the Jayce Heimer and Talia Thralls is if you ban Kaisa, this lineup right here, I legitimately feels like will beat anything. Like if you put this, and then literally you could put Ari Bard, you could play your own Kaisa deck, you could play Bard Maokai, you could play Monkey. Like literally you pair this too with any third deck that's a tier 1 deck or very strong, even if it's hella weakened to Kaisa, you're gonna go places. Like as long as your third deck has okay game into Bard and then also beats other things like just random, if your deck's good enough to beat random garbage, then that lineup will take you extremely far. Like this lineup is so good, if Seasonals was this weekend, this is my lineup I'd be playing. If Seasonals was this weekend, like this Saturday, I'd bring Heimer, Jayce, Thralls, and then Bard Maokai would be my 3 decks. 100% of the time, no doubt. Because one, it's hard to target these. Like, no one's really going to target either of these. Like, Thralls, maybe, but still probably not. So people aren't definitely not going to target Jayce Heimer. Might target Thralls, but still probably not. And then your third deck, also, like I said, I would have brought Bard Maokai, because no one's going to target Bard. Like, what even targets Bard Maokai? You know? Like, yeah, so these 2 deck core is insanely strong. That's what I would be playing right now. That's what I would bring to Gauntlet. The third deck is just whatever you're really good with. Even if it loses to Kai'Sa, it doesn't matter. I would just auto ban Kai'Sa. If your opponent doesn't have Kai'Sa, literally just ban their strongest deck, and then ban their strongest deck against your weakest deck, and then you'll go far with that Gauntlet lineup. So that's gonna be it for this episode of Sweaty Thursday for this weekend. I hope this weekend goes well for you guys. I always appreciate it too when you leave comments down in the comment down below on what decks you're playing, to kind of give other people an idea of what else other decks they could play. As well as leave a comment maybe afterwards, like on Monday or something, after you do your Gauntlet, and say like, hey, I was able to, I got my Prime Glory, thanks. Or, go jump in the Discord and leave it in the Discord. Say like, hey, got my 4th Prime Glory, ready for, last chance, stuff like that. Just to give other people, like, it kind of help me out here and show others that these videos are really helping and really working. And also just to show me that it's working and it's helping out, because it's always nice to have reassurance that I'm not just screaming into the void and that my videos help people. Or if they aren't helping people, that I can see that and say like, oh man, I need to do something different. I need better decks. I need to do different formatting. I need to do something else to help out all of these amazing LoR competitive players, or competitive striving to be players. So all of that stuff helps me out a ton. So I'd appreciate it. That's it. Like, comment, subscribe for the algorithm, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.